Ever have that song you hear and it's like, boom, instant flashback?
Oh, yeah.
For me, Pink Floyd's Comfortably Numb takes me right back to like senior year high school.
Oh, wow.
It was everywhere. And you know what? It's still a classic rock radio staple. But here's the thing about Comfortably Numb. Underneath those iconic guitar solos, it is like deceptively complex.
Mm.
There's a depth there that keeps people coming back, even decades later. So today, we're going deep on Comfortably Numb
Okay.
to figure out what makes it such a masterpiece. We'll unpack the unusual structure, the creative clashes, during recording, and the orchestral arrangements that I think most people don't even realize are there.
It's true. They get overlooked, those orchestral parts.
Right.
And they're key to, I think, why it's such a powerful experience for the listener.
Totally. It's not the first thing you think of with Pink Floyd.
Right.
But we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Okay.
Let's rewind to the very beginning with David Gilmour's demo. Even at that early stage, there were hints of what the song would become.
Absolutely. The demo was recorded on a guitar with this unusual tuning that Gilmour called a high string tuning.
Okay, so for those of us who don't speak guitar, break that down. What's so special?
So imagine a guitar with like this extra dose of shimmer and airiness.
Okay.
It's like this,
Yeah.
he found a way to make the guitar yearn. It just gives the whole demo this haunting, ethereal quality that really matches the feeling of the song.
Interesting. So that sound is baked in from the demo.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder what it would have sounded like if he had used like a standard tuning.
Yeah, it definitely wouldn't have had that same otherworldly vibe. It's amazing how one little change, one little choice can have such a huge impact. But the recording process wasn't without, its battles. The creative tension between Roger Waters and David Gilmour is like all over this track.
Oh yeah, the Waters-Gilmour clashes.
Yeah.
I've heard about those.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it played into Comfortably Numb. Tell me more.
They butted heads over the rhythm tracks, and they were recorded in one day. They were happy with them, and then the next day, Gilmour insists on re-recording them because he wasn't happy with the timing.
Wow, talk about dedication. I can only imagine the conversations in the studio.
But here's what's fascinating. The final version that everyone knows, that you hear, is seamlessly edited together from those different takes.
Seriously, I never would have guessed.
It's really incredible.
Wow.
It's a testament to their skill as musicians, but also to the sound engineers that they were working with.
Right.
This isn't just placing tape together. This is like audio editing as high art,
It makes you appreciate that level of detail.
Yeah.
That they weren't afraid to just experiment till they got it right.
Totally. And speaking of details, we have to talk about Michael Kamen's orchestral arrangements.
Okay.
This is one of those elements that elevates it from a great song to like a truly unforgettable experience.
Okay, orchestral arrangements.
Yeah.
It's not exactly the first thing that comes to mind when you think Pink Floyd, right?
Yeah.
Right.
You think like soaring guitars, psychedelic soundscapes, but a whole orchestra.
Yeah, it's not.
What's the story?
It's one of those things that make it so unique, though. Kamen wasn't just adding strings to add strings,
Yes.
He created these like intricate layers that weave in and out of the band's performance.
Yeah.
It's almost like he's like having a conversation with the instruments,
Give me an example. Where can we hear it?
The intro with those echoing guitars and keyboards.
Okay.
Hidden in these layers of brass and strings. They just add this incredible depth and richness, this sense of space and grandeur that you would never expect in a rock song. You know what I mean?
Wow. Yeah, I hear that. It's so
Yeah.
subtle, but it changes it.
It does, right?
Yeah.
Or take the verses,
Okay.
that haunting, melancholic quality.
Yeah.
A lot of that is coming from Kamen's string arrangement. It's like a voice from another world,
It's so easy to just get lost in the guitar solos, but those orchestral parts just add a whole other dimension.
They do. To the song.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And the crazy thing is, Kamen created all of this without ever being in the same room as the band.
I know, right?
They sent him the tapes, and he, did his thing.
Yeah, essentially, he worked his magic separately.
Wow. Talk about trusting your gut. They just handed it off and said, go for it.
It seems that way, and tragically, Kamen's life was cut short,
Yeah.
but his legacy on this song, and so many others, is just undeniable.
It makes you think about all the unsung heroes in music.
Right.
Those who might not be in the spotlight, but what they do is just as essential.
100%. And speaking of things that often go unnoticed, can we talk about the song's structure?
Okay.
Because it is anything but conventional.
Yeah, tell me about it. It's not your typical verse, chorus, verse.
Not at all.
It feels almost cinematic in a way.
It does. It's true.
In the way it builds and releases tension.
You have that 3-phrase verse, which is already unusual.
Right.
And then those extended instrumental sections.
Yeah.
It keeps you guessing. It keeps you on the edge of your seat. You know?
Yeah. It's like they're toying with you.
Yeah.
Like you think you know where it's going and then bam!
Exactly.
It's another Gilmour solo.
And those solos would not hit nearly as hard if it weren't for the masterful use of dynamics.
That's true.
They understood contrast.
Yeah.
Like how to build to those explosive moments.
You know what else I find interesting is how there's no like traditional drum beat during the chorus.
Oh, interesting.
It's subtle, but it makes the whole thing like it has this floating, dreamy quality.
Yeah, you're right. It's almost as if like the drums are holding back.
Yeah.
To create that space for like the other instruments to breathe, right?
Yes.
And then there are these moments where, you know,
it kicks in.
They come crashing in like a wave, you know, and they add this raw primal energy.
It's like this quiet intensity where you're holding your breath and then you finally exhale. It's so powerful.
And that's the genius of this song. It's full of these subtle details that when combined, create this truly immersive emotional experience.
It's a masterclass in songwriting.
Yeah.
They're not just playing notes, they're painting a picture.
100%.
With sound.
And we can't forget about David Gilmour's vocals.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they're often overshadowed by this amazing guitar work, but his performance on this track is stunning.
Absolutely. Those soaring high notes, the raw emotion, chills every time. And you know, it's interesting. I heard that Gilmour didn't even consider himself a singer early in his career.
You're right. Yeah, you're right. It wasn't until later that he like embraced his voice.
Yeah.
Thankfully he did, because wow, does he add so much like depth and vulnerability to Comfortably Numb.
They do. You know what else is interesting about his vocals? They're super powerful, but they're also incredibly restrained. It's like he's walking this tightrope between holding back and just letting go.
Right. And it really, I think, mirrors those lyrical themes.
Yes.
Of numbness and emotional detachment.
Exactly.
He's not like belting it out. He's conveying that sense of like longing and searching for something, you know.
Which I think a lot of people can relate to. Especially, you know, high school.
Oh, totally.
It's those awkward years. That's probably why it resonated with me so much back then.
Yeah.
You're trying to figure out who you are, where you belong, and you're going through all these emotions at the same time.
Right. And that's the thing about music, isn't it? It has this power to transport us back to those times, those formative experiences.
It does.
And to remind us of like who we were, who we are now. It shows us how far we've come.
Yeah, no, totally. Music is like that, right? It can really take you back. And Comfortably Numb, with its themes of like isolation and introspection and searching for connection, it seems to tap into something universal, don't you think?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's a song that resonates across generations, I think.
Yeah.
And part of that appeal, that lasting appeal, is because of how it balances the darkness and the light.
Yeah.
Musically and lyrically, right?
That's funny you should say that. I was just thinking about how the music like embodies that. You have those like soaring transcendent moments like in the guitar solos.
Right.
And then you have these darker, more like introspective passages, you know, in the verses.
Exactly. It's like a sonic representation of like how complex human emotion really is.
It is.
It's not afraid to be both beautiful and unsettling.
Yeah, yeah. And maybe that's why it still connects with people, you know, after all these years, because it reminds you that it's okay to embrace like all of it. You don't have to choose between being, you know, comfortably numb and being totally overwhelmed by it all.
Right.
You can feel it all.
It gives us permission to acknowledge all the messiness, I think.
Right.
The good, the bad, the joy, the sorrow, you know.
And to find beauty in those unexpected places.
Right.
Because Comfortably Numb isn't like, you know, a happy, feel-good song. You know what I mean?
No, not really.
It's dark, it's brooding, but there's also this weird sense of hope in it.
It's that little glimmer of light, right?
Yeah.
In the darkness. That makes it so interesting. It suggests that even when we feel lost or alone, there's always a chance that we're going to find our way back to feeling whole again.
That's beautiful. And I think that speaks to just how powerful music is, you know, to help us kind of understand ourselves better, to find meaning, to connect, even with people from different generations.
Right, and this song is such a good example of that. I mean, people are still talking about Comfortably Numb.
Yeah.
It evokes those memories. It reminds us that we're not alone in all of this.
So true. So the next time you listen to Comfortably Numb, don't just listen to it, feel it.
Yeah.
Let it like wash over you, take you back.
Yeah.
And just remember that there's a lot more going on in that song than you might realize.
It really is a testament to creative collaboration and taking risks.
Yeah.
And just how powerful music can be.
Beautifully said. And on that note, we'll leave you to it.
Yeah.
Until next time.